Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Oh my goodness. I think we're up. I think we're up and live. All right, there we go. It's a little lag time. Every time it tells me there's an action needed, but lies. All right, I hope everyone is having a great week. I like doing Wednesdays because I feel like we're halfway through the week. It's busy, but we still have gotten a lot accomplished, but we still have a lot of time left to use. So I feel like it's a perfect time. For a while, I was like, I think Fridays are good, but then we forget it all by the time, because a lot of us kind of shut it down over the weekend. So today I'm really excited. I'll wait a few minutes while some people join. I'm going to have a little bit more Diet Coke because it's been a morning. Go, go, go. And I'm trying not to have coffee past 2 o'clock anymore. We're actually going to get into that today. A little bit of a dependency on coffee that I'm trying to break. I don't know if I'm just filling it with another dependency, but I actually rarely have Diet Coke. We just happen to have these mini ones here, and they're so cute and mini. And I was like, all right, one mini one. Can't hurt. All right, so I am excited to talk today about high achievers, okay? And how we can really mirror them, right? Because imitation is the best form of flattery, to catapult our own business's success in that same direction. Whether you want to use the expression, why reinvent the wheel, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or whatever. It's so important to look at what works in anything we're doing in life and kind of break it down into its basic components and then incorporate that. It's really a systematic and almost mathematical in nature approach to get those same results. So really excited today, and if you couldn't make it, no biggie. I know today end of the year stuff is going on like crazy, the end of the year school things. Our twins were in different classes this year, so it was like everything was staggered. It was nuts. But you can always catch replays on Facebook, which is why it's so great. The live replays, the Facebook lives, but on replay. So we're going to talk about how to catapult your business's success by mirroring the habits of those high achievers. So as you know, I like to set an objective to keep us on track. So by the end of this training, I would like you to be able to at least master just one of the 10 techniques that we're going to be discussing, or the daily habits that these high achievers have. And I want you to take that one and be able to successfully incorporate it into your day, into your lifestyle in a sustainable way. So you're making more money in your business and you're freeing up more time by being strategic. Because at the end of the day, we don't just want to be making more money. Obviously, we want to be making more money, but we really want to be also freeing up our time, making more money in less time. That is the goal here, okay? So how does that sound? If you want to do that, if that sounds good, type in there something like, let's do this. Yeah, thumbs up, whatever. Okay? We are going to jump right in. And in many of our past lives and my past trainings, I discuss your beliefs because beliefs are so critical, right? We talked about limiting beliefs, our inner critic. We talked about your financial identity and how to reframe it. We talked about money blocks, and those are all critical. But there's another piece of the puzzle beyond just believing that gets you towards achieving, okay? And that is where our behavior comes into play and our actions come into play. Now, of course, our beliefs directly drive our behaviors, right? Which is why we talked about beliefs first. But today, now that we have our beliefs in check and we know how to rein them in and reshape them in a way that better serves us, now today we're going to be discussing the specific habits that you can incorporate in your business, okay, in order to be one of those high achievers that we're going to be using kind of like as our science experiment to break down, okay? So you're going to strive to take these habits and put them into your routines in baby steps because I don't want anything to feel overwhelming, okay? We're going to discuss 10 habits today, but you're not trying to incorporate all 10 today, okay? Don't get overwhelmed. We'll have action items at the end where we kind of break it down. But eventually, you do want to have these 10 habits become ritualistic for you, okay? Ritualistic, kind of unconscious things that you do in your day every single day. And that's what's really going to move the needle in your business, okay? Awesome. Okay, so number one, let's just jump right in. So number one, find and focus on your peak performance time. Okay, peak performance time. It's different for everyone. Everyone has a different peak performance time based on their body makeup, their lifestyle, their energy levels, if they have a commute, if they work from home, if they have kids, if they have pets, anything, right? So we all have different times where we are the most productive, or what we would call our peak performance time, where we're really dialed in. For me, it's always been the morning. Going back into even high school, maybe even middle school, but I specifically remember starting in high school, if I had a big exam, I didn't stay up late studying or pull an all-nighter. Instead, I would set my alarm clock for like crazy early in the morning. I remember my parents thought I was nuts because they like to sleep late. But that was the best time for me. I knew it was going to be the most efficient and the most quality study time for me. So you want to determine, what is your peak performance time? Is it early in the morning? Is it later at night? Okay. Figure out what yours is and then capitalize on it. Okay. Use that time to your advantage. And there's no shame in whatever your time is. I know there's a lot of like info out there that says or implies that if you don't wake up at 5 a.m., like you ain't doing it right. And we're actually going to get more into that on next week's live. But that is not true. Okay, we all have different peak performance times. We are all have different lifestyles. We're at different phases of our life. So that is just not true. Scientifically, statistically, incorrect. Okay, so again, tune in next week for the Facebook Live when we talk more about that and how, this perfect morning routine that is always kind of what you hear about isn't actually the way it's described. Okay, all right, number two. So that was number one, that we want to take advantage of, leverage that peak performance time for ourselves, whatever that time is, and really do some kind of reflection here. When is the time of day that you have the most energy, you are the most productive, you have less distractions, whatever it is. And it may change throughout the week. It may be Monday through Friday, it's mornings, but on the weekends, it's, if you choose to work on the weekends or whatever days you're working, there could be some changes there. So it could be day specific, season specific, year specific. Okay. Number two, and I mentioned this kind of a second ago, you want to be ruthless when it comes to your distractions, okay? You want to be, if any of you watched like Seinfeld, like the soup Nazi, you want to be like the distraction Nazi, like no distractions. No distractions for you, no distractions for you. Okay, so we talked about this last week, right? Even though we were told our whole life, oh, multitasking, you're such a great multitasker, and it was this great compliment and something we strive for, multitasking actually sucks, okay? There's no better way to say it. How would we ever expect our poor little brains to be doing their best at everything we throw at them when they're constantly changing gears, okay? Whether it's responding to emails, social media, answering calls, grabbing a snack, helping your kids, all sorts of things. It's constantly changing gears, reading a news article that pops into your news feed, answering the door because Comcast is there, whatever it is, okay? Each time you get distracted, you are actually achieving less. So each distraction is taking away from your achievement in that moment, in that day, and over the course of your business, okay? So I have a quote that I really like from Bruce Daisley, and he is the VP of the Europe, Middle East, and Africa for Twitter. Okay, so he works for Twitter, one of the biggest distractors out there, right? And even he says, as working for them, he says, and I'm going to quote here, "Humans love being socially included, and modern technology has found a way to tug at our sleeve to alert us every moment there is social interaction. But when we take a breather from this, it seems to have a disproportionately refreshing effect on us." Okay, and that is from the VP of Twitter in 3 different continents saying that. So it makes us, taking away that distraction not only makes us feel better, but it also makes us a higher achiever or reach higher achievement in that day. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? So how can we do this while still being connected with our businesses? Because a lot of us, you kind of need these distractions, social media, whatever they are, marketing techniques as part of our business or our client acquisition or continuing the relationship with our clients and our customers. So how can you do this? One way, hold on, let me see. I'm trying to see. Christy, you just wrote something. Steve Jobs never gave his kids an iPhone. I know. There's so many articles. I find that all so interesting, especially the former high school teacher in me, because like cell phones for kids were like my arch nemesis. But yes, you will see that all of the CEOs and people up there high in the tech fields don't actually introduce the technology to their kids at a young age. And a lot of them even disconnect themselves from it when they're, whenever they can. So absolutely, Christy, good call. So ways you can do this. We talked about last week, but limiting how often you check your email throughout the day. So having predetermined and consistent times throughout the day, you can even, I suggested it last week or the week before, setting alarms in your phone for the start and the stop time on checking your email. And it's suggested 3 to 5 times daily. This also is very job specific or business niche specific, because if you, for instance, are a coach and you're offering like 24/7 support, you may need to be checking your email more throughout the day than somebody who's selling a product or in a different field. But you really don't need to be checking it more than 5 times a day. So try that. Also scrutinize which apps you're allowing send you notifications, and those apps that you're deciding, okay, it's worth it to get those notifications, how many notifications and from whom. Okay, so really scrutinize that. You can use the focus setting or similar settings on your phone. I know for the iPhone it's called Focus. They even now have the ability to personalize different focus categories. So I can make one, I call one like Focus Home, Focus Work. And one is like Focus Home when I'm with my kids and I want to be dialed into my kids. And then one is Focus when I'm working. So it's a little bit different. Like I receive text messages on the Focus Kids one, if it's family, whatever. But like I don't want them doing focus work. So you can really adjust them and they're great. They really help. Another thing which I've discussed before is the Pomodoro technique or other techniques for chunking your time in order to just make sure that you are getting that distraction-free work time in there, okay? All right, number 3 is to crush your most important things first, your most important tasks first. So we already said that number 1, you're working during your peak performance time. Number 2 is you've gotten rid of those distractions. Number 3 is basically prioritizing, making sure you are picking your most important tasks first. And I personally struggle with this one because I love, like in an incredibly unhealthy way, I love to-do lists, but I more so love crossing off on to-do lists. Like psychically, after I do something, even though if it wasn't on the list, I'll write it so I can cross it off. It's crazy, okay? I even have been made to sometimes make a list about the lists that I have going. Like, I know. So it's totally sick what I do. Is there anyone out there, like, throw me some love if you also have a toxic relationship with lists. But even though I may like them too much, they are beneficial, okay? So most high achievers, though, recommend that when you make that list, in making sure that you are being strategic in the order in which you are approaching those tasks and crossing them off. So even though for me it's really fulfilling to cross off more of them, and that might feel nice and kind of like motivate me a little bit, that's not helpful. Because what you want to do is the most important task first for many reasons, but one of the largest ones is rarely do we complete our whole to-do list. So if you're just picking like the easy ones, like respond to email, make your new business cards, or do an Instagram post, or hop on that call with someone that you really like to talk to but isn't necessarily like necessary for the profit of your business. If you're doing those things first, you might not be getting to that important task. And then you're pushing it off to the next day, and to the next day, and to the next day. Okay? So what happens is these easy, unimportant tasks get crossed off, but meanwhile those critical ones are just getting postponed. So we need to ignore that temptation to start with the easy, the fun, like things, the social media comments, whatever, reading an article that is technically like related to business, but again, isn't necessarily income generating for you in that moment, okay? And I'm gonna quote here Jamie Brown Hontman, who's an author and former senior White House and DOJ official, says, I spend the first part of my working day tackling my top priority. It's when my energy has been restored through a good night's sleep and I'm able to give my work my best self. I think most of us would agree that as the day goes on, the risk of being pulled into other people's priorities or being distracted by intervening events only increases. Starting the day with what matters to you is how you give your best self and mitigate the risk of losing the opportunity to focus it. Wow, that is so well said. I love it. Now, some of you may be thinking, wait a minute, so that just told us first thing in the morning, but you said peak performance time. So if you are someone whose peak performance time is in the evening, like you're a night owl and that's when you're the most focused, it's when it's the quietest in your house and it's just you and you really just like love those moments for your business, well then tackling the top priority in the morning doesn't work for you, but it means saving that top priority for that time. So you might have to be a little bit more strategic if nighttime is your peak performance time, because you do want to make sure that you're not letting anything get pushed till the next day. All right. Number 4 is to become a list maker. All right. We already talked about my total toxic relationship lists and how I love them, but honestly, they do keep you on track when the rest of your life is going off the rails. See what I did with that little train metaphor there? I like that. My son Tommy would love that because he's obsessed with Thomas the Train. Probably because he has a million Thomas the Train things, because when you name your kid Thomas or Tommy, that's what you get. So he loves. But according to productivity expert Paula Rizzo, when you're juggling a lot of tasks, things will fall through the cracks. And lists are an amazing way to keep yourself on target and get those things done. So it's kind of a no-brainer, but I do want to stress that you don't have to be crazy with your list making, and you don't want that to be something that's taking away time from those crucial tasks that are moving the needle. Okay, so you want to make a list, but it shouldn't be very time consuming. And you want to be comprehensive in the way that includes all the non-negotiable tasks for that day that are income generating. But you do not want to spend 5 hours making the list and making it all pretty and rewriting it if you have a cross out. You catch my drift. And I've been there, so no judgment. I've been there. Okay, number 5 is being smart about your goals. Okay, so high achievers, they set goals that matter, but they also focus on the outcome of those goals. So they actually, and I do this is part of what I train my clients in with mindset, with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and other mindset techniques, is you visualize that you've already achieved the goal. So if your goal is to double your monthly income, right? You are envisioning that you have already done it. So you are doing the tasks throughout the day like you've already done that. You have already doubled that income. That's what your income is. And what that does is it motivates you. Hey, Catherine! It motivates you to forge ahead, right? So it keeps you going to continue to take that action day in and day out, because you've already mentally told yourself that you have reached that goal. Okay, and you're not really tricking your brain, but you're programming it to think like the future you would when you reach that goal. Okay, and then ultimately it helps you to reach that goal and then reach your next dream. SMART goals, we've all heard of them, SMART goals, specific, measurable, blah, blah, blah. They're a great place to start. However, they're not, in my opinion, the perfect method for goal setting. There's a model that I believe is a little bit more comprehensive that really gets at your mindset piece, which the SMART goal doesn't really. And I'm going to talk about that in a future live, but that's just something to think about. But SMART goals are a great place to start. Okay. Number 6 is to be clear about what you need from others. Okay. This is especially important for any of you that have employees, right? But we need to be clear and not make assumptions regarding our expectations or what we need, the deliverables that we need, or the expectations when it comes to behavior, hours that they work, anything in that regard. Just like in personal relationships, right? Like mind reading is rare. I always expect that my husband should be able to, but it's rare. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're not assuming. So Jude McColgan, the CEO of Localytics, says, and I'm going to quote him here because these are the high achievers and we are learning from them. We're not reinventing the wheel here. He says, I have made a dedicated effort to communicate clearly and put things in writing to help people I interact with each day so that they have a better understanding of what I need from them for our team to be successful. Okay? And it's so crucial to have that open line of communication and not assume that what's going on in your brain or your expectations or what you need is obvious to other people. And we're going to discuss in more detail in a future live about leadership and management skills that are really crucial for business owners. So we'll go into that in a future one as well. Okay, number 7. Okay, habit of high achievers, and I love this one. Listen intently. Listen intently. This is a fun one. I feel like this is one of the reasons why we all got into this, like, owning our own business things. This is where you can be social and really be building those cool, genuine relationships during your work hours, okay? I was driving one day and I was listening to, like, Kiss 108, and they were talking about Ryan Seacrest, and this really resonated with me because I was like, oh my gosh, he has nailed this. He listens intently. So it wasn't like, it was like the Maddie in the Morning Show, but it wasn't Maddie. It was one of the tech guys in the back that's like controls the little like sound effects. So he was at something, he was telling the story about how he was at some event and he met Ryan Seacrest. And Ryan not only was very friendly and he was shocked, but gave him like individual attention, was really looking at him. And he's not, this big radio host. He's a guy behind the scenes. Asked him his name, asked him about his family, about what his goals are, career-wise, just like wanted to get to know him, like genuinely. And this tech guy, who I can't remember his name, was saying how he couldn't believe it. Like he felt like this genuine connection to Ryan Seacrest. But what he was even more blown away by was a few years later, he met him at another event. And Ryan came up to him, and I don't know if he remembered his name or not, but he remembered him. And he asked him, how's that going with your family? Did you guys ever end up like X, Y, and Z? Like he was asking him personal things, waiting for the answers. And it just hit me. And especially when everyone at that station said, that's what everyone says about Ryan Seacrest. That's what everyone says. And he is a hustler, but he's making true relationship. He's forging true relationships, and that matters. And he's listening. He's listening to the responses. He cares to know the answer to his questions. So Craig Maloney, a CEO of Maestro Health, which was recently just acquired by AXA, he states, I make a conscious effort to listen intently, ask questions, remember interests, and more. The goal is to make each engagement more personal and to engage in each conversation as if this conversation were the foundation for which I'm building a relationship. And I just think that's so incredibly important. And perhaps you've heard of the know, like, and trust factor in business. You really want your clients or your potential clients or potential customers to feel like they know you, that they like you, and that they trust you. And that's in all business relationships, whether it's a business partner, collaborator, an employee, or a client, existing client, or prospective client. I just think it's so important, and it's one of the best parts of being a business owner, in my opinion. Okay, number 8, hold yourself accountable. All right, but in a positive, I'm a life learner kind of way, nothing negative, okay? This will lead to progress, and it will lead to self-awareness. So we want to be honest with ourselves when something is not working, or if we didn't fulfill a commitment, or we've been slacking with a certain aspect of our business. But we're going to see that as a setback, and that's it, okay? And we continue moving forward. It's not the end of the world. It's just a setback. We're being honest with ourselves. This honesty, this reflection, the accountability will lead us to continually strive to expand our skills, expand our knowledge, become the go-to expert in something or everything, okay? So it will drive us if we reflect and we're honest and we take accountability. So Mike Wessinger, he's a CEO of Point Click Care. He says, stripping away the cycles of blame and excuses and replacing it with a culture of accountability can be stressful at first. But in my experience, it has proven to be the most valuable asset in the long run, in both my personal life and my professional career. Okay? So stripping away those blames and excuses, but being accountable. All right? Because it's not about blame and excuses, and it's not about, oh, that was a failure. It's about learning from it and moving forward. Okay? But not ignoring it either, not putting our head in the sand and doing the same thing over again. All right, number 9. And again, there are 10 of these. So number 9, manage your email like a psycho. Okay, I can't think of a better way to say it. So email is a necessary evil. And I want to stress that necessary evil, it's necessary. Life becomes busy. I know that we all get DMs and texts and reminders and notifications. It's the end of the year and maybe we have kids, maybe we have all these other things, but that does not mean that our email etiquette can just go out the window, okay? High achievers pay attention to their email. And I know that you may be thinking, because I was thinking this at first too, I went right to the like, oh yeah, but all these like gurus and high achievers and icons, they have whole teams of people responding for their email, right? So that's true. They do. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. They do. But if you aren't them right now, you're not them. So you don't have that. Or maybe you decide that that is appropriate for your business at this time, if that's what's needed to respond to all your emails and have that email etiquette. But they also started just like you once. So we can't use that as an excuse. All right. So 𝐥𝐞𝐭'𝐬, he's the co-founder and CEO of Delve. It's a multi-million-dollar company. He recommends that you respond to anything that's a quick answer. And for everything else, he just reads the top few lines and then he marks it as unread for later. Okay. And then critical messages, he'll type out the response quickly, but sometimes he'll let them sit in draft form and then get to them later when he has time to reread them. Okay. So I think that's really important. So responding quickly to anything that's like urgent or could have a quick response, and making sure that you type a draft and like leave it there, but revisit it if it's something that you need to reread and really give extra attention to. Okay. Number 10, we've made it to the 10, number 10 of what I've gathered or what I have curated from all of these high achievers as a really great habit to have. Number 10 is to remove your dependencies, okay? And I joke because I was just saying at the beginning of this, I'm not doing an ad for Diet Coke, that I drink too much coffee, and I've told myself no coffee after 2 p.m. because it really interferes with my sleep, and, you know, sleep is basically like interferes with everything else in life. So, but I was really tired, and I just saw we happened to have from like, we had people over and they were left over these mini Diet Cokes, and something about the mini ones are so cute. And I was like, all right, I'll just have a mini Diet Coke. But that's a dependency. Caffeine, right? So whether it's caffeine, alcohol, 3 alarms going off in the morning, a mid-afternoon chocolate infusion, getting attention from others or needing flattery, or chatting with your fellow entrepreneur bestie all the time. Whatever you need or are dependent on to feel like you've had a successful day, you want to work towards removing those dependencies. Okay? Ronak Shah, he's the CEO of 𝐢𝐝𝐷, which is a global cereal company, and co-founder of Ghost 3 Media, which is a global digital marketing company, says removing dependencies gives you the ability to act on what you need to do without having to wait on something to give you the ability to do it. You need to take back that control, okay? Instead, you need to focus on internal motivation, right? So top achievers, they're internally motivated by the belief in themselves. They don't need all these other dependencies to motivate them for that day. And that doesn't mean they were always like that, but they've worked to be at that point, and that has worked for them. That has created success in their business lives and their personal lives. They choose to ignore negativity, ignore comparison, ignore distractions, ignore all the noise, right? Ignore all the noise and leave space just for like that fiery motivation, okay? So we need to light our internal fires. Can you do that? If you can do that, like just type a hell yeah, I'm gonna light my internal fire. Yeah, I am. Okay, awesome. So as you know, I love to do a little summary of the training. So let's do a little recap. Okay, and then I'm going to give you a couple action items or fun work, and then we'll wrap it up for today. So, summary. Your beliefs drive behaviors, which are driving your actions or your inaction. Okay, so beliefs were the building block, the foundation. Okay, and we've already talked about those in the last 3 or 4 lives, and now we were getting specific about the behaviors. Okay, there are specific habits for you to incorporate into your business in order to be a high achiever. Okay, and what were they? Number 1, find out, figure out, and focus on or leverage your peak performance times in the day. Number 2, be ruthless about getting rid of those distractions, or not getting rid of them, but choosing the times you allow them to enter your life. You are in control here. Number 3, crush the most important tasks first. Get them out of there first. And by most important, I mean income generating, okay? I don't mean most important just, you know, you just like willy-nilly decide like, oh, that's important. income generating first. Okay? What am I at? 4, become a list master. If you need any help with that, I'm psycho about it. Number 5, be smart about your goals. And remember, that means goal-oriented and results-driven. And we're going to go more into that on a future live. Number 6 was, be clear about what you need from others. Okay, not expecting mind readers. Number 7 was to listen intently when you are building those relationships with everyone in life, but also specifically with your clients or prospective clients. Number 8, hold yourself accountable so that you can be a life learner. Number 9, manage your email like a nut job. No, just really manage that email. Have email etiquette, basically. And number 10, remove those dependencies, those things that you currently need to have a successful day, whether it be like a product, a person, a thing, a feeling. Remove those. All right? How's it feel? Oh, I'm excited. Okay, action items, or I like to call your fun work for tonight, for this week, really. I want you to just pick one of the habits that we discussed. Just one. Okay, eventually we're gonna get there. We're gonna master all 10, like unconsciously, but right now just one. Write it down on a Post-it note, okay? And put it on your computer monitor, your laptop, your window, your mirror, whatever is the most visible or gets the most visible traction during your work hours. Okay? Got it? Then, next week, you're going to keep it there. It's going to still be there. But you're going to add another habit from our list. Okay? You can squeeze it on that Post-it or grab another Post-it if you're like me and you write like all bubbly and big. All right? That's it. So doable, right? And I think you're going to feel like an instantaneous impact on the way that you are getting things done that day, and that ultimately the productivity and the income or the revenue for your business. Awesome. All right, that was so great. So we have I curated for you all the info of what these high achievers are doing so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and instead you can just use them as your model, right? Use them as your model. They've had a lot of trial and error throughout their life, and we will too, but let's not have to go through the same trial and error they did, because they have found habits that do create success and continued success and scalability. So that is one piece of the puzzle, right? But there is so much more. And if you want to work with me to figure out how to get clarity on whether it's to organize your finances or your pricing or charging what you're worth, or creating systems so that you are more efficient with your time, free up your time while increasing your income, I would love to chat with you about that. You can book a free discovery call. It's complimentary at this time, a discovery call with me. I'll drop the link in the comments. And basically, during that discovery call, you will walk away with total clarity on how your current finances are being organized, how you could upgrade your pricing, and other systems or processes that you could incorporate. And it would just be awesome to chat with you also. So I will drop that link in there, as well as the link to my YouTube channel if you want to chat, grab any videos. And this was so fun. I had a great time. I will see you next week. Next week we are talking about, we're talking about the infamous morning routine, and how a lot of the information that we read about like what you have to do in the morning, you know, like this, like go to the top of a mountain, grab a goat and yodel, like crazy stuff like that you're supposed to do at 4 a.m. if you want to like be successful in business, how it is not true and not really sustainable or realistic for a lot of people, yet they still are successful. So we're going to talk about how to find the morning routine, or the routine that is specific to your lifestyle and your needs and moves the needle for your business. So that will be next week. That will be really exciting. All right, I hope you have an awesome rest of the week. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.